Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Big Lee's Worlds podcast. It is I, your host, Big Lee, coming to you live from Big Lee's Boom Boom Room right here in Cape Girardeau, Missouri. Tonight, I have with me Kyle Johnson, the Charleston Jag teacher, who is responsible for having Cape Championship Wrestling's Chaos in Charleston 2 event coming up February 29th in Charleston. And we're going to talk with him now via Google Voice and get his thoughts on the upcoming event. Kyle, welcome to the podcast, man. It's great to finally have you on here.
Man, I'm excited to be on here. I've been a huge fan of your podcast, and I appreciate you inviting me on, man.
Hey, yeah, no problem. Well, the reason that Kyle is on here today is we were going to talk about the upcoming big event in Charleston, Missouri. CCW, Cape Championship Wrestling, presents Chaos in Charleston 2 live on Leap Year Day, February 29th at the Charleston High School in Charleston, Missouri. Kyle, you pretty excited for the big event coming up?
I am beyond excited. I am probably the most amped 38-year-old in Charleston, Missouri. It is going to be a wild night. I mean, with the show they put together, it's unreal.
Awesome. That's what we like to hear. But yeah, it sounds like I got a few friends down that way, and they're pretty excited for it. And we know the CCW diehard are pretty excited for it. And of course, for those of you that have seen the flyer going around, you know that the main event is going to be the CCW champion Otis Crowley defending against former ECW champion, former WWE Tag Team champion, and current Impact Wrestling, aka TNA Wrestling superstar, the Man Beast, the War Machine, Rhino.
Oh man, it's gonna be so epic with him there. And I tell you what, he is such a cool dude, just from what I've got to hear about him.
Yeah, I've said this in a couple of past podcasts. There's not too many of the nicest people in the world you can meet backstage at a wrestling event that are truly nice people. But Rhino is one of the nice ones that you'll meet.
And have you met him before?
One time, just kind of in a quick passing at a convention.
Okay.
And he was super nice a little bit. I got to chat with him, but it's one of those things. If you ever get a chance to go to Access, I highly recommend it, but you have to make sure that you are you're diehard and stick to the schedule, because it comes and it goes, and
I figured.
And it's rushed through. So Kyle, how'd you become a wrestling fan?
Oh my gosh, that's not a long story, but about 34 years ago, me and my father and my dad, we would always watch Saturday night main event, and we'd watch Sunday morning superstars. They'd replay a whole bunch of stuff with me and Gene Okerlund in the background in the studio, going through that week's matches and stuff. And every day after church, we'd come home, and me and my dad would watch it. And I grew up from 80, 83, 84, 85 till now being a wrestling fan. So, I mean, I was in Hogan's heyday,
Mm-hmm.
And I will forever be a Hogan maniac till the day I die. I don't really care what anybody says. And I mean, I had the Hulk Hogan camera that you had to buy the flashes for and stick them on top of the camera. I mean, I had the Hulkamania T-shirts. I had all kinds of stuff. And we watched that, and then as the Attitude Era got going, me and my dad was through there Monday night from 7 o'clock till 10 o'clock watching either Nitro or flipping back and forth in commercials to Raw. And I mean, it's just, I grew up. It was a lot of my dad's passion, and it's just always been that way, man.
I got you. It's kind of the same for me, just starting out and then just kind of sticking with it. You said you're a big Hogan fan. Does that mean you're a big Slammer Mania fan?
I have been. I like. He sticks true to his gimmick. He doesn't shy away from it. I mean, I've even seen him when he posts on Facebook or on Instagram. He even sticks to the Slammer motif on the social media. I mean, he does a really good job with it. And,
yeah.
I have become a fan. I'm a huge Dalton fan too. I'm not so much anymore that he left the a good run to go to the House 100, but, I'll let him hear about it next weekend.
Yeah, I mean, those are two people I've always said bad things about, is Slammer and Dalton Anthony, and nobody wanted to listen to me, and I tried to tell them how bad of people those two people are, and no one would listen. Now they're getting to see it. So, I hope you give them a hard time, and, my good personal friend Cash Borden is gonna stretch him a little bit, and I heard he's got a couple of surprises up his sleeve for a House 100, so
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, that should be a barn burner of a match right there.
Oh, big time. And I'll tell you what, I met him the last show that was in Charleston back in September. I met him in the locker room and got to talk with him. And I think it was like one of his first or second shows in CCW. And he is such a nice guy to talk to. But when he gets in that ring, it's like he just flips the switch.
Mm-hmm.
And it was crazy some of the stuff he was doing, especially. I couldn't believe it at all. I just look forward to seeing him kick goals. Well, Dalton gets the crap kicked out of him everywhere, but he's definitely going to get it next Saturday night.
Yeah, I've known Cash now for a few years, coming from the deathmatch spectrum of the world of wrestling, and I definitely think that I wouldn't be too surprised if he doesn't have one of his little toys with him to kind of seek that revenge there for what he's done to the fans. So that should be that should be a good time. So you're doing this now. This isn't just like a normal wrestling event that's coming to Charleston. Now, this is actually this is a fundraiser, correct?
Yes, sir. Actually, last year we were very fortunate. I teach a class called JAG, which is Jobs for American Graduates, and we teamed up with our baseball team to do they do a spring fundraiser every year, or winter fundraiser right before the season, just to kind of help kick off the season and stuff. And I talk about wrestling at work all the time. I don't shy away from being a fan and all this stuff. Well, the athletic director of Charleston is an old-time WWE fan, Coco Beware, Hogan, Savage, late 80s, early 90s, stuff like that, and a little bit of the Attitude Era. And I started talking to him about CCW. And this is when I had been talking to Barry Carafa years ago, 2-3 years ago. And then I got into talking with you and Jason Rodriguez and Ken. And so he's like, man, he's what we call a fundraising guy. He knows how to do it. And he's like, man, I wonder what we could get them here. And my ears perked up. And it's one thing to live your dream each day with your job, but to get to actually bring wrestling to your hometown, it was even something cooler. And we worked it out and got it together. And our local bank, Citizens Bank, donated the money from the show. Didn't want anything in return. And they said, you guys keep all the profits and just go with it. And they support our community big time. And they, they made it bigger and better this year. They donated more money so we can get Rhino here. And it's just man, I tell you what, we're hoping that it's a staple. And not only a fundraiser for us, but a staple for Cape Championship Wrestling.
Yeah, I know Cape Championship Wrestling is excited to be going back down there. It's actually what is this? The third Charleston show. There was this one this time last year. For which those of you who listened to some of the earlier podcasts, yes, it is the show that I wrecked my car going to the night before.
And that was an awkward night, though. Nobody knew it was going to ice, and it was pretty bad.
Well, it's one of those things. They always say that you're most likely to have a wreck the closest you are to home, and
That's pretty true. You got pretty close to it.
Yeah, within 6 miles, and but so we have that there, and then like I said, in September came back down there, and I've got this one coming up on the 29th, and hopefully it goes well, because I know CCW want to be making its return back down there as well. So,
big time.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, people are excited about that. Last time Otis Crowley was here, he left. He slammed his head on the floor like blood. So that shows you how much these guys are bringing to the shows.
Yeah, there's no phoning it in or anything like this. Every guy that's on the roster, they take it 110% serious. They're dedicated to the cause, and they want to put on the best show possible for the fans. They want to make sure that the fans get their money's worth. And looking at this card here, it's definitely going to be one of those endeavors here to where the tickets, I think, are one of those things where it's such a great value that everybody needs to make sure they come out to this event, because it's going to be a fun time for sure.
Oh, definitely. And we looked at the price and stuff like that, and you know, we're trying to raise money and stuff like that. But to get, and some people don't realize, I mean, you can get all these former WWE guys and stuff like that, but that you charge, and you have to pay for it and stuff like that. But at the same time, we've lowered our concessions from what they had been in the past, and so it should be an affordable trip, I hope. And I know a lot of your fans come from Cape. It's kind of hard to get down to Charleston sometimes, but
you're going to remember to unhook the soda machine this time, right?
Yeah, I think so. I sometimes I get so worked up, and my wife's like, "Aren't you just gonna sit down and enjoy the show?" I said, "I'm just living it right now." I said, I like standing back and just watching. You know, this is gonna happen. This is gonna happen, and sometimes I forget about trying. I don't think you guys do it. You do it for every month, because I'm just trying to think. I just have one thing I have to worry about one time a year, and you guys had so much going on, and it's just crazy, man.
Mm-hmm.
It is so crazy.
Yeah, it's one of those things to where it's like, you know, in the wrestling business, if you're running back-to-back shows like that, it's, you know, it's going just like as soon as one's done, like there's no real rest period.
No, there's not at all.
And especially, you know, with this time of the year, with it being the road to the Super Show, so everything means a little bit more. Everything's building and building and building there. So, is there any match in particular you're looking forward to seeing? What is it? I guess the time this comes out, it would be next Saturday, February 29th.
Yes, sir. I'm really looking forward to the Dangerous and Delicious tag team match against King's Court. I got to see King's Court for the first time, I think, last month.
Mm-hmm.
And not bad. I mean, they put on a pretty good show. And I'll tell you what, I don't know what the big guy's name is, the heavier set guy.
That'd be Addison. If Addison is listening to this, do not forget my hoodie that you borrowed back in October.
He can. I mean, they both did such a good job. But I tell you what, he brought the attitude and the spirit. I just, I loved it. I loved it. I mean,
yeah, because if I remember right, they made their they got their presence known at the last Charleston show back in September. I remember being at the back table back there with some of my good friends that are from the Charleston area, the Thurmans, and I remember I told them they're getting a little too rowdy over there, and I was like, hold the table down. I might have to go step in over here to make sure that, you know.
Yeah, it was crazy. I didn't realize that. I was like, who are these guys? And then I was like, oh wait a minute, there's some wrestlers, and then kind of find out they were coming from Tennessee, I guess, in Tennessee area.
Yeah, they're coming out from Dyersburg.
Yeah, they put on a good show. I mean, they do real well. And I like watching Justin wrestle. Justin is smart. I mean, I like him and Donnie Six. I like to see them wrestle together. I like to see them wrestle together other than wrestling each other. And I think it'll be a really good match.
So now how does this work? Because like the last couple of times, you know, he really promoted that he was from Sykeston, and I know y'all got some heat down that way with the Sykeston folks. So how does this go?
Well, last year he took a Charleston. He talked a bunch of crap about Charleston and all this stuff, and he's come to where he's kind of softened up a little bit. And I think he realizes that, you know, maybe that's more something he has to leave the past, or that no matter if Sykeston beats Charleston 1,000 times, Charleston's always going to be better than Sykeston. It doesn't matter if we lose or anything like that. We're just that much better people, and it's just the way it is. And I think he's come to terms with that. I hope. If not, it's going to be another rude awakening, I think, Saturday night.
Yeah, that's he may have a little bit to learn, but I think he may make it.
Oh, I think so. I think so too. We have a. I tell people I do the broadcasting and filming for all of our Charleston sporting events and stuff, and I tell people that I am a biased fan. I have no doubt that the refs are wrong about everything. I don't care. Charleston's right about everything. So I lay that out there as a disclaimer. So I do the same thing against anybody that's fighting against Justin Smart, they're probably better than he is.
Well, that's probably true. So we've been talking a little bit here about the Chaos in Charleston too. Where can people get tickets for this at?
You can go to cagewrestling.com and get your front row and second row seats. And I think you can buy general admission too there. Or you can buy them at the door, obviously. I think there's about 10 front row seats left. They're selling, they sold pretty good. We're kind of wondering about the price there for at first. But they sold pretty good. And the second row sold, I think about half of those are sold. And then we have a ton of general admission. Our students are selling them as well. We've got about 150 tickets, I think, sold here for general admission. And so we're looking, we're sitting with about 300 people right now, I think.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and the first show we had 250. The last show we had about 175. And it's kind of hard during football season sometimes where we're at. But this is coming right off the day after district championship, which I hope we're going to be in. But then we'll play, and then we'll have that the next night. And so I think, and I see what our students are so motivated about selling tickets this year. We've had raffles at school. We've had kids. We have a little contest going so we can sell the most. And people are getting out there and getting after it. This is definitely the most exciting that they've been over the last 3 shows. This is the most excited the students have been. But now that they've seen it, and they come to the shows and stuff like that.
Yeah, and that's one of the great things is it's like, myself growing up in a small town, we don't have that many big events that come through like a Cape or St. Louis or Nashville or something like that. So it is a pretty big deal that wrestling comes to Charleston. And, you mentioned something about a ticket price. And this is one of the things, like, I debate with all different types of people and different types of events when it comes to ticket pricing. But there's a lot of things that people don't look at to be like, okay, well, you look at this ticket, it may be $1 or $2 more here, but it's like you're going 6-8 blocks. You're not going to Cape or Nashville, gas, hotel. So, it's a great bargain. Like I said, anytime that, looking at this card to have both Rhino and Holidead on it.
See, that's what I was going to talk about her too.
And,
I know you're probably, you know more about her than I do.
Yeah, big fan of Holidead. Known her with her tag partner, Thunder Rosa.
Yeah, I remember her.
So, yeah, she's definitely one of the up-and-coming stars out there on the independent scene. So it's a really good get to have her, not just in Charleston, but at CCW in general. And hopefully she's going to get that strap off of Trending Trent Daniels.
I'm all sick of that. Oh, my gosh, I'm so sick of that.
I tell you, I've been known to.
I liked him at first. I liked the whole snapshot, selfie thing going on, and then he got. I guess he has little man syndrome. I don't know what's going on. So man, and it showed out like that.
I tell you, I've been known to line with the bad side of things in the wrestling business, but even that. That's one of the things is like people, even those type of people, we're like, no, we don't want anything to do with him.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's just like, hopefully, he'll get it taken care of. I know now he's running around with Showtime.
Oh, that guy showed up at that last show. Oh my gosh. He about brought the place down. Just from the color of his jacket. He about blinded you.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, Showtime. But yeah, so they'll both be there on the 29th, and so hopefully, like I said, Holiday will get them taken care of, so.
Oh, definitely. I was going to say something about Rhino real quick, and we talked about ticket prices and stuff. What's really cool that he's doing that I don't think anybody, I don't know, in the last 3 years, I've missed probably a handful of shows, but of all the stars that come in, they usually do a $10, autograph fee and all this stuff, and, meet and greet. He is setting up a table, and he's just going to sign whatever you bring up to him and talk to you while you're there. He's not charging for anything other than his own merch. It's something different.
Yeah, that's a pretty big deal to get to be able to come in and meet Rhino. You know,
Oh yeah.
like, and especially no additional cost for the ticket there. You know, that's some big news. I mean, that's,
I talked to Jason about it. There might be a little bit more terms to it, but he told Jason he's going to try to get here about 6 o'clock to where he can get out there and get the table going and get to meet. Because that's his thing. Like I've listened to him on the podcast with Chris Jericho. And,
yes.
And he had so many good things to say about independent wrestling and how, you know, he wants to help these guys.
Mm-hmm.
He's there to help these guys and for the fans. He said, I wouldn't be living my dream if I didn't have these fans, you know. And so it's so cool that he said he's going to come and just, you know, I'm going to set the table up and I'm going to talk to the people, you know.
Well, you know, that's one of the things.
Otis Crowley's butt.
Mm-hmm. That's one of the things that he was talking about on that same podcast was that he was like, you know, some of these guys, they just go set up and then they just go sit in the back. He's like, I have most of the fun at the independent shows just setting out the merch table talking to fans.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So I think, like I said earlier, it's a real treat for Charleston to be have him coming in there. And one of the things that we actually mentioned about when we were planning on recording this was we both have a mutual friend.
Oh, my gosh, yes.
Yes, Mr. Deadly Dale.
Yep.
So how did you meet Deadly Dale?
I have known Dale Chitty, or Deadly Dale Chitty. I guess I don't know if you guys know him as Dale Chitty. I grew up with Dale, and I went to high school. I graduated a couple years after he did, and played football together. He was definitely, you could tell. I mean, like, when we grew up and we were in high school, it was the attitude years. So, I mean, it was, I mean, NWL was at its peak and everything like that. But, I've known him and his family, a really good family, for years. And, I knew he was always wanting to get in the wrestling business, and I think he's been in it ever since he got out of high school. And we talk every time we see each other, you know, we wouldn't see each other all the time. But, and then when I met you, I mean, I kept following him on Facebook and stuff, his independent career and stuff. And I'd see him around town when I was at home. And then when I first talked to you, you're like, I saw you liked his post. I'm like, well, that's weird. I didn't know anybody else knew who Dale Chitty was. And then come to find out he's got this following in death matches and stuff. And I'm like, this is crazy.
Yeah, I first met Dale before I knew he was doing death matches. I met him. He was a part of the faction LSD, labeled Social Deviants, and I believe it was in Rector, Arkansas. For those of you that don't know, yes, there is a real town called Rector in Arkansas.
Yep. You're not missing anything.
Yeah, it was. I remember it was him. It was Cody Only and Idle Bane as the LSD with what was the name? Big Money or Easy Money, something like that, was the manager, old Frank Martin down there.
Okay.
And that was my first endeavor with him, and I've been a fan and a friend ever since. So I've got to see him on the road in Illinois. I've got to see him. Probably one of my favorite moments of his was being front row live to see him work the Necro Butcher at Pops.
Oh my gosh, it doesn't even sound fun. I mean, it sounds scary.
Well, I remember at the end of the match, once it was all said and done with all the excess of violence, I guess you could say. Are you familiar with the Insane Clown Posse?
Oh, yes. Yeah,
all right. So the larger one, Violent J, came out afterwards at the end of the match.
Really?
And he just kind of stood there and was just like, what did I just see here?
Yeah. Really?
And I think that image will always be burnt in the back of my mind of just being there being like, whoa, what just happened here? So.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I can tell you this. I saw Dale in probably 2001, 2002. I graduated 2000. He graduated 98.
Uh-huh.
And I saw him, and he had a full head of teeth. You know, full mouth of teeth. And when I saw him about 10 years later, he'd kick a field goal in between. Some death matches, and I was like, oh my God. I said, I'm so happy that you're dedicated to your craft, man. So dedicated. And he has been. I mean, he does it. I think I don't know if he does it as much anymore, but I definitely know he still does it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he gets out every now and again too. I think he's been working down in what is that town called? Tuckerman, Arkansas.
Yeah, yep. It's just south of Pocahontas, where we're both from.
Yeah, 'cause I was originally planning to go down there this past weekend, and I got tied up doing the family thing and wasn't able to make it down there. So hopefully I can catch him down there sometime, or hopefully he gets everything good to go, and hopefully we can get him up here on the Missouri side sometime.
Oh, it'd be nice. It'd be nice. I know they have a Southern, I don't know if it's Southern Elite or something down there.
Yeah, that's in Hoxie.
Yeah, it's in Hoxie. And they have a lot of the same, a lot of CCW guys go down there when they're not. I think Dalton and I think Shannon have actually been there and wrestled. And he sent a message on Facebook that he was going through Hoxie, and I was like, oh my gosh, because there was a saying about Hoxie that we learned when we were in high school. If the streets are clean and the girls are Hoxie, you bet you're not in Hoxie. And when they said that, and when he said, well, I'm in Hoxie, Arkansas, and that's all I thought about. And I was like, I need to relay that to him. We might get a kick out of that.
Yeah. No, yeah, Hoxie down there says that Southern Elite Championship Wrestling. I think it's ran by there's a tag team called Beer 30.
Yep.
And I think they're the ones that run it, and I think Austin Lane's the one that books it down there.
Well, and I tell you what, it's such a good thing to have. I mean, I joke about hockey. I mean, it's a great community, but we're kind of rivals. Well, we play in sports and stuff like that. But to have independent wrestling in these pocket areas is such a good thing for fans that you don't get to see. I mean, we didn't have it so much when I was growing up that you knew about, especially with Facebook and Instagram and Twitter nowadays. I mean, it's just, you can build your brand. Right. I think definitely CCW has built a brand that has, I mean, obviously stood the test of time so far.
Yeah, no, I agree with the small town part, like I said earlier. Growing up down in the Boot Hill, when I was a young teenager, back before electricity was invented.
Yeah, exactly.
They had wrestling in Malden.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, they had wrestling in Malden and Kennett. And
I think they had a few in East Prairie. Charleston had a little bit, but it's not been 30 years, 20 years, something like that.
And so we was lucky to that, but that kind of cut out there, so they stopped running. And then they've had some trying startups down there when I was in college, but they had their own legal issues, and that got shut down. So I never made it to a show in Charleston, and I've only been to East Prairie maybe twice in my life, and once was to buy guns. So
yeah, there's not a whole lot there. Sure.
Is that place still in business down there?
Yeah, it's huge. Well, I mean, it's a really good gun shop. We've got the only one around in a 5-mile radius. So
what is it, Mr. G's, right?
G's, yep.
Well, there you go. For those of y'all listening out there, I'll give a shameless plug to Mr. G's. I ain't been down there in a few years, but I bought my Glock down there, and they cut me a really good deal. So at least for that, I'll give them a shout out here. So yeah, they're still in business. Go down there and check them out.
That's for sure. They have a guy down there that wrestled called East Prairie Larry. Wrestled in Charleston at the old Armory. All the old fellas, old timers here, they know who he is.
Okay.
I think he walks around with just one leg now.
Oh, wow.
I've heard about him, yeah. So it's been a while.
Yeah. But yeah,
I tell you what, I just really, I think that what you guys did, starting with CCW and bringing the talent you guys have brought, it's crazy to me how much it's grown,
Mm-hmm. Well, I attribute that a lot to having a great solid fan base.
Oh yeah.
I don't necessarily know if this demographic that listens to this carries over, but there is a rapper by the name Ice-T.
Yeah.
And I'm familiar with Ice-T from his band Body Count.
I've seen you post some stuff about him before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Body Count, check them out. Great band, great message behind it. But he did a podcast episode with Jamie Josta from Hatebreed. And,
really?
Yeah, and he talks a lot about, the business aspect of it. And I think that's the problem with a lot of things in society these days everybody wants to talk about the glitz and the glam, but they don't want to talk about the behind the curtain stuff and how things come about and what really needs to work. But anyways, here I tend to get sidetracked on things.
No,
but
you're
with
good,
that,
man. You're good.
with that, Ice-T talks about, he's like, this is the problem with the music business is so many people want to just gather like millions, say they have like millions and millions of Facebook fans, but when they put out an album, they still owe the record company because while they have millions and millions of fans, they don't have the core fans that's supporting it.
Exactly.
So you can have a band that has less fans and has a stronger core audience, and they're making profit, and they're not owning the record label. So he goes in through talking about like how to build, like building a core, and then how that supportive core helps make all that back. And that's kind of the thing I think with CCW is that, you know, we had such a great core fan base. They're willing to support what we've done. You know, they supported us when we started going to Chaffee, when they started going to Delta, when we went to Sykeston, and even when we went to Charleston.
Exactly. Oh, yeah, big time.
You know, you talked about 200 plus people on that first Charleston show.
Yeah.
And, you know, we talked about it earlier with the weather and everything, you know, for somebody, you know, for people to travel.
When it was icy out and stuff.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And then even with that second show that, you know, I was talking to people at the front door, and they were coming in that, they were coming from Sykeston. You know, they said they couldn't always make it to Cape, but they could make it to Charleston. And people coming from Poplar Bluff saying the same thing, people from Cairo. So, you know, it's a
difference.
Yeah. And, you know, you're talking about, you know, your pre-sales and stuff like that, and it sounds like, you know, the town's really excited for it, and they're ready for a big night of action.
I think so, and especially with the card, I mean, you're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 matches that are, I mean, loaded to the hilt. I mean, especially with I look forward to seeing Logan, you know, and Deacon going against JJ and Baracus. You know, JJ. Shout out to my boy Baracus. Yeah, I mean, Baracus is for as big as he is, he can move. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I've liked JJ. He was when they first came here last year. He was helping setting up the ring and still training, and now he's getting his shot, you know, to start wrestling a little bit more. And he's athletic, so athletic. And you know, Logan is athletic, and it's going to be a good match. And I mean, and any time, and I'm not gonna lie, Joey and Brandon are two of my favorite, you know, guys from CCW. And anytime I get to Joey O'Reilly wrestle, especially against Sexy Sarge, it's going to be an interesting match, you know. I mean, they're kind of two different styles of wrestling there, you know.
Now, will this be the Charleston debut of Sexy Sarge?
It is. It might be a little toned down version, I think, just because it's out of school. But it's still the Charleston. I mean, it's the debut of Sexy Sarge in Charleston, Missouri. I'll tell you what, there's nobody I think that has a bigger fan base than this man.
I've told this to Jason, and I've told it to Sarge time and time again. When I was first told about Sexy Sarge coming in, and they told me who he was, and they showed it to me, and I was just like, no, this will never get over.
Exactly.
This will never get over.
Yeah.
And boy, let me tell you, I was wrong. People love it.
Yeah. I mean, the crowd they eat him up. And it's just, that's all it's about. And it's about that. And I mean, I know he's got kind of a niche with the money and his drawers and stuff, but people love him. I mean, they love the boots. And it's always a different boot. He doesn't ever wear the same boot. Mm-hmm. And I mean, he might be 70 years old for all I know. But I tell you what, he looks like he's about 40. I mean, he's got the hair slicked back, and I mean, he's just the gold chain, and I mean, this man, he's a good dude. I look forward to seeing him wrestle in Georgia, that's for sure.
Yeah, you may not know this, but them furry boots are magical.
They seem to be.
Yeah, they are. I remember going back in the annals of CCW history, one of the matches was about Sarge getting his boot stolen by Van the Man Van Horn.
I remember.
And,
Yeah.
yeah, so, you get out there and, you see those boots on there next Saturday night in Charleston. Just know those are magical boots, so make sure you, take it in.
You don't know what's going to happen next, for sure. It's gonna be such a good show, and I thank everybody for always coming out and being a part and everything like that. But it's such a good cause. It helps us raise money. It helps the baseball team raise money. But at the same time, you're getting to see some of the best. You're not gonna pay $20 and get a show like you're gonna see Saturday or next Saturday night.
Right. You get to see some of the best, and then Slammer.
Yeah, and then Slammer, exactly.
I wonder if we could pay Rhino extra to put Slammer through a table.
That'd be great. I've got about 4 or 5 hidden in the closet I can bring. They're disposable. Let him just run him right through. I tell you what, it's something that if people don't realize, especially about how big Rhino was. If you look back in the annals of WWE 2001, 2002, I mean, Stephanie McMahon was his manager. And I mean, and when if you listen, I suggest anybody go listen, but your podcast, I listen to you and Talk is Jericho more than I listen to anybody. And the podcast he has with Chris Jericho, talking about how they, went back and forth for so many years and just how, like, when he was with Edge and Christian and stuff like that, it's just such a good, I don't know, it always has a good story. I mean, how he like how Vince told him pretty much almost fired him on a house show one night. I mean, it's crazy. It's just crazy. Some of the stories he has to tell you.
And see, that's one of the great things you was talking about earlier is, how he, he's really interested in helping guys and stuff like that. And you see these guys that are coming out, like they leave WWE and they start taking some independent days as a quick cash grab. Or they try to hawk their t-shirts online. But that's the thing though, with, Rhino, it's not that with him, like, he's still actively wrestling. He's a big, he's still a big time star in Impact Wrestling. He's out there with, last I seen, who was he working? I think he was working RVD.
Yeah, I think it was.
Or no, it wasn't RVD. I think it was Moose.
Okay.
And he cut a great promo, and I remember telling Jason, I was like, so hey, is he going to cut this same promo now? And he's like, yeah, probably not. So yeah, but like I said, overall top and bottom, it's a solid card. It's going to be for a great cause. And, like you said, the tickets are on sale now at capewrestling.com. There's a few, front row seats left, some, second rows left. If you're in the Charleston area, make sure you hit up Kyle or some of the kids there at the school selling the tickets. The event is CCW Chaos in Charleston 2, Saturday, February 29th at the Charleston High School. Doors are at 6, bell time is at 7, correct?
Yes, sir. We'll be there with our smile on, ready to go. All
right, sounds good. Well, Kyle, I want to thank you for all the support. Thank you for bringing CCW to Charleston. Thanks for showing love to the podcast. Thanks for being a guest on here. And where can people find you at?
You can find me on Facebook, Kyle Johnson. And I'm on Instagram. I'm still learning how to use that. So if you type in Kyle Johnson, it shows up with a picture with me and my family at Universal Studios last year.
Nice.
Use it on Facebook because that's about where I'm at right now. And I know I've said how old I am, but I'm not very good when it comes to the other social media, that's for sure.
Hey, it's that way sometimes right here. Personally, I'm a big Twitter person. I love Twitter.
Oh, yeah.
Twitter's not that big in this area like it should be.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
So it's kind of like, I wish it was, but, this area is a very big Facebook, what's the word I'm looking for here? Like a very Facebook-centric area.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah, so if it's going to go down, it's going to go down on the Facebook. And with that being said, you can make sure to, if you go to the Cape Championship Wrestling Facebook page, there's an official event page for the CCW Chaos in Charleston 2 there.
Yep.
Make sure you go and click that you're going there so you can get following on the latest updates on that. A little bird told me there may be another announcement or two about some of the things happening there coming up, but we're waiting on clarification for that. And
the thing is, I'll tell you what, that little birdie, you never know what they're going to say.
That's right. There may be someone listening to this to be like, you can't say that yet. Well, just make sure you go and put your attending at that CCW event so that you can get all the latest updates on there. Once again, Kyle, thank you for being a guest on here. I really appreciate it. And I appreciate all of you listening to the podcast out there. Make sure when you're listening to this, make sure to share the episode, like, subscribe, rate. Tell all your friends to check out Big Lee's World's podcast. Tell them to check out the CCW Chaos in Charleston 2 event. Like I said, if you got any questions, shoot us an email at bigleesworld@gmail.com. Follow us on the Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at Big Lee's World. And once again, thanks for listening. Kyle, thanks again for calling in. And as always, 2 scoops of whoop, whoop, whoop.